Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mod Talks. My name is Nikki Hill Albert, and I will be your host for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us together with Modularity Home, the exclusive distributor of premium Italian home brands Scavolini, Valcucine, Pianca, and Elica. Now, for first timers attending today, Modularity Home focuses on cabinetry systems and living systems for the home. So, from kitchens, where I am proud to say I am a Scavolini kitchen user myself, as well as bathrooms, living rooms, wardrobes, and walk in closets. So, they created Mod Talks, which is a webinar series that aims to inspire and ignite interest in style, design, and architecture among our end users, fellow industry practitioners, and students with specific conversations on new design concepts for different spaces for our homes. And for this episode, we are grateful to be in partnership with the SOFA Design Institute, the country's first specialized design college, who are continuing to add more areas of focus, such as interior design, lighting design, and furniture design. And today, we will be talking to two very special guests on the power of basics, translating essential design to your home. And I cannot wait to introduce them in a bit. But before we get our discussion going, I would like to remind everyone that we will be having a Q&A portion at the end of the show. This is looking like it's a favorite among our audience members. So feel free to type in your questions in the chat box and make sure that you indicate your name, as we will also be giving away prizes to two lucky winners with the best questions chosen by our speaker. Alrighty, now let's hear from the man who made this all happen, Modularity Home's General Manager, Brian Ontiveros, to share a few words. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Nikki. Thanks again for doing this with us. Thank you. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for taking the time to watch Mod Talks with us. I know everyone's busy now. The economy is in full swing, but we still have to be a bit careful. So I really wanted to thank everybody for your time. I wanted to say, especially thank you to SOFA Design Institute for partnering with us. Thank you to Pianca, who actually also is our partner for this particular episode. So we're very excited. Nikki and I were chatting earlier about, our guests for today. This is another, momentous episode that we will have today. So I'll turn you back to Nikki for formal introduction of our guests. Thanks, Nikki.
Thanks, Brian. Alrighty, our first guest, she is a licensed designer of human-centered products and built environments. She is an educational innovator and entrepreneur. She is an interior design graduate from the University of Santo Tomas and placed first in the 2009 interior design licensure exam. She is further expanding her expertise to include technology and innovation as she is finishing her master's in innovation and business at the Asian Institute of Management as a merit scholar, a high distinction awardee, and one of the top 7% performers in her batch. Currently, as SOFA Design Institute's chairperson for interior design, her multifaceted career is influenced mainly by her integrative approach to merging design with science, her passion for lifelong learning, and her drive to push the boundaries of what is and what could be. So let's all welcome IDR Carla Leonor, PIID. Hi, Carla.
Hello, Nikki, and hello, everyone. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
So excited to pick your brain. I'm sure all of the students who are watching as well, and all the industry practitioners are just, very excited to see what's going on inside, the brain of someone who's these accolades are just amazing.
I'm just as happy to learn from everyone today, so I'm excited.
Can't wait, can't wait. Thank you, Carla. Our next guest is born in France. This iconic designer is now based in Milan, where he started his company that focuses on product design, working individually with clients as well as collaborating with prestigious Italian brands such as Bianca. Now, what really makes him stand out are his accolades, including Good Design Award with Bianca's Fushimi bed in 2018, and first prize for the Young in Design Award with, again, Bianca's Fushimi bed in 2017. Now, a lot of his products use a playful amount of geometry to make them fun focal points, and his designs are bold and have concepts outside of the box that make them great conversation starters. But their quality construction makes them staple pieces of furniture for years to come. Such an honor to have with us today industrial designer and one of Bianca's collaborators, Philippe Tabe. Hi, Philippe.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope you don't mind my asking what time is it there right now?
Now it's 11:13.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's not so bad then.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
All right. Well, Philippe, I'm going to get the ball rolling with you. I just want to start with a question about your design process. You know, if you can tell us more about your thinking process behind the products you design, specifically with Bianca. And, you know, today we're talking about the power of basics. So what do you think are the essential or foundational qualities that a product must have?
You know, for me, I would say it's a good question, but it depends on the typology of products you're designing. For example, for Bianca, maybe you have in your mind the bed Fushimi. That is a good storytelling, because I started with the idea of creating a really thin structure. For example, here is the Fushimi armchair.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's easier to see it on the bed one. That really started with a personal briefing that I had in my mind. I wanted to break the rules in terms of beds aesthetic. You know, those big volumes that you can find in your bedrooms that are kind of too big for what I expected, you know. So I wanted to create something very thin and wooden made with also upholstery elements. So I wanted to create this really, very light aesthetic in the bedroom. So I played with a very thin structure of wood, and with the technique, because you still need to create something strong and stable. I did some technical points to make it stable in the structure of the bed that you can find underneath the mattress. And so it was a very good balance between technique and shape. And in terms of aesthetic, I often like to tell a story, and here I wanted to get inspired by Asia, by Japan, but not something so close to the reality, but what I think could be the expression of Japan. Okay, so not something that you actually can go to Japan and find some pieces like this, but something that could be in the imagination of what could be the inspiration of Japan. So that was something that I really like to work on. Then you can find some other projects, and the stories are very different. But in that case, it was the process that I've been using. Yeah.
Would you say travel plays a huge role in your design process? Is this something that
for sure.
And with the pandemic having just kind of like finished, did that affect your creativity in any way?
Yeah, during the pandemic, what you have is the imagination. That's the only thing that you had left, I would say. So that's why it's interesting. I mean, your question is very good, because in that case, it was really the imagination of a country that you don't know. Actually, I've been to Japan, but so many years ago, and it left something really, in the air. It was not something so clear, but it was kind of an idea of a Japan of a trip like to Japan. So that was really interesting to find the balance between reality and imagination. Yeah.
So right now we are actually looking at the pieces. We had a slide going on, and these were the pieces that Philippe had recently. This is a very recent collection. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah, 3 years ago. Yeah. Maybe
Gorgeous
just before the pandemic.
streamlined pieces just before the pandemic. There you go. Thank you very much, Philippe. I'm gonna jump over to IDR Carla. This time naman for Carla, with your experience as an interior designer of human-centered and built environments, what do you consider essential design?
Hi, Nikki. I just want to acknowledge also, I love what Philippe did mention, because it's distilling the essence of Japan into a furniture piece. I think that's very beautiful. To answer your question, basically what I would look at would be the basic ingredients or elements of successful design. I want to share. I had this favorite docu-series in Netflix. It's called Salt, Fat, Acid, and Heat.
Yes.
It's with the Salmon Nosrat. You're familiar. It's actually very beautiful because she went through, the basic ingredients of what makes good cooking. So whether you're a novice or an expert, you can, definitely make a dish wonderful. And for design, I think that's the same. When we talk about essential design or essentialism, you have to have the fundamental ingredients that could make any design work, to the purpose that it should. So to me, that could be your elements and principles of design. You have to have that honesty or your usability. Something also that can connect to what Philippe did mention. Be honest about your design, meaning it reflects what it should, before it's the purpose, right? And lastly, could be is that it's life-giving. And when I say life-giving, it's something that has character, or it can actually stand the test of time. So, or when people see it, they just immediately love it. They're attracted towards it because it's beautiful and it has a purpose. So I think that's something that I consider essential for any kind of design, whether it be a product or a space or even a service.
I was actually saving this question for much later, but I think I want to jump into it right now. When you say something is basic, you can also say that it's what makes it timeless. But maybe from a designer's point of view and an artist at that, what makes something timeless?
I think timeless for me personally is that if you can, give this to the next generation, like a product that you have, you can pass it on. That's definitely timeless. And that constitutes that it actually can live up, to its purpose. It's sturdy enough, it has quality. So that to me is timeless. It's one. Of course, something aesthetically, timeless would be something that's beautiful and would be appreciated by several generations. And that could mean that it's not overly decorated, it's something that is able to distill a beautiful thing into a single piece, much like Philippe's work, right? Something about his experience in Japan and how people are and basically what the culture is about. He's able to distill it in one product. And you understand, when you see it, you understand, hey, I get it. It does have that Japanese vibe. So it takes a really good designer to be able to do that.
I'm just curious, and I'm going to throw this question at Philippe. Design is, and interior design at that, and furniture design is equal parts an art and a science. How do you deal with that tug, that tension of wanting something to be obviously functional, but also unique, and at the same time timeless? It's just there's so many factors that come into play. And I guess I just want to pick your brain. Like maybe Philippe can answer this for us.
Yeah, I'll try to. I'm not sure I will answer to this, but I'll try to. It's a very tricky question. I would say that timeless for me is quality. I mean, it's not about, you know, style. It's really, it really depends on the quality of the product, and also the quality of I would say the process of the designer, the company, and trying not to I would say easily follow a trend, I would say, because trends, you know, sometimes are very, you know, attractive. You know, it's really something that you can identify quickly, but that many, you know, companies in 2-3 years are bringing to mass market, and it's getting, you know, boring for some you know, for the customers or the people in general. So I would say that really it's the quality of the process, quality of the material, quality of the design. It's a mix of quality, I would say, for the timeless design. That's for me kind of the definition. Then the second part of your question was about mixing science with art. I would say it's already an answer. I mean, the design is you know, I would say a fusion between many things. You know, for sure, science maybe a little bit less in my case, but I would say also hand drawing, imagination. I was talking about it before. Technique for sure, and about the technique, you know, that you need for some functions of an object. For example, a chair has to be stable. It depends also on the materials, on the processes of this material. For example, the wood, the foam, in the case of the S that you can see on this picture. So you try to make the technique and the material talk, you know, in the best way, in the most, I would say, beautiful way. Also, if I don't like the word beautiful, but it's, you know, designing with some elements that are, as you said, you know, material, technique, and things like this, and try to make it in the most beautiful way. Okay, to try to find the most interesting solutions. Try to use less material as possible, no waste, and things like this. So this is a mix of those elements that makes the design great, I would say.
Yeah, a lot of design really is problem solving, but in a more aesthetic way, in a more aesthetically pleasing way. This time I'm gonna take the voice. No, sorry, go ahead.
No, I would say
ahead, Philippe.
In the furniture design, problem solving is, you know, you have to sit on something, you have to sleep somewhere, you have to. So the problem is you know, the needs are well known in the field, you know, in the design field. So yes, you can always try to do better, but you know more or less where you have to go. It can be more comfortable. It can be, but you know, you have many strict things, like, you know, the height of a backrest and things like this. So I don't want to be boring, but the needs, you already know the needs. You can make them better, but more or less we know where to go.
I'll take the voice of an end user this time, of someone who has these needs and who knows these needs. And I'm gonna ask Brian. Brian, you work with several clients. They have different essential needs for their spaces, specifically for closets and wardrobes. What are the basic elements to consider when it comes to planning these systems?
I think you know, we try to correlate what Carla was talking about, what Philippe was talking about, and as you said, at the end of the day, you know, we also have to listen to the end user. You know, the people who actually use the product. Your question was, you were asking me about the closets in terms of what people really consider when they first approach us. And it's actually trying to understand what they're going to put inside the closets, right? So we have to understand who these people are. The nice thing about what we do is we talk to clients one-to-one, right? So if this client will have a different requirement from the next client, and with Bianca, whether it's the closets or the furniture, we have solutions that we can provide. Most of the time, we have to understand if it's the closet is in the bedroom, or does it have its own room, so we can do a walk-in closet. We have to understand if it's husband and wife, how much of the closet space will be used by the wife and how much will be used by the husband. So all these things we have to consider in terms of when we design these spaces, and then we consider, of course, the design afterwards. Function first, and then we talk about the design in terms of the material of the doors, the hardware, the interior carcass. So it's again, I don't want to be like Philippe. We can explain all these things, but at the end of the day, it's really understanding what the end user wants. It's listening, right? Designing, I think, is all about listening and understanding what the requirements are.
All right. And speaking of listening, at this point, let's have our guests weigh in on the conversation with a poll. So everyone who's watching us right now, we'd like you to answer this question. What space in the home would you consider the most essential? So all you have to do is pick one. Your choices are either kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, or living and entertainment room. Again, what space in your home do you consider the most essential? Kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, or living room? While we're waiting for our guests to gather their thoughts, I want to pick your brains. Maybe we can have Philippe answer this question.
Philippe, you're
Yes, sorry, I don't remember if I have to answer also to this question physically on the Zoom. No, I don't have to. Okay.
You don't have to. No. You just have to tell us your answer.
So the space in my home that is the most essential, you mean the more essential basic, or in terms of style? Essential, simple?
Maybe
no.
in terms of I would say, if I were to answer this, what space in my home is the most essential? I would think like the space in my home which is most used.
Okay, I would say the kitchen.
The kitchen.
I would say the kitchen, because I have now a daughter, and I'm always cooking something. So it's
she's
I would say the
invited. She's
kitchen,
invited
actually.
to come.
Now the kitchen, for me, the kitchen.
How about IDR, Carla?
I was a bit torn, because of course I would say kitchen as well, because I love food. But you know how the Filipino culture puts food at the center of the home and also part of their entertainment. It's usually where people converge. I'm actually in the middle of, is it kitchen or is it like living room or entertainment room? So maybe I could be in that. Yeah, maybe both or in between, where the counter is at or the kitchen bar is at. I'll be there smack in the middle. Because, to share also with you, Philippe, in the Philippines, we make people feel at home through good food and good company. We love sharing food, love sharing our culture, and we do that, we're very festive. So we choose a happy spot around the home, usually surrounding the kitchen, whether we're cooking or not. We just want to be near the food.
We like to entertain as a people.
Okay.
How about Brian? Someone who's always having to deal with these things. Which one for you is a personal essential space?
Given even before the pandemic, I would actually work in random spaces. I don't have a physical office. When I would go to the showroom, I just work in whatever kitchen island. So given that most of the time I'm working from home, I really go from spot to spot. Right now, I'm in my daughter's room. I took over her office space, and I made it my space. So but next week I'll be bored of this room. I'll move to the dining room, or I'll move to the kitchen. I'm very
So
erratic.
all the
So
spaces are
yeah,
essential.
I think because of the situation now, we spend so much time at home. The houses have become even more essential as a whole.
Yeah.
Whereas before we would be at home maybe less of the time. So I think right now is a good time to actually spend time at home and enjoy the different spaces in your home. You get bored staying in one corner, so you have to move from one spot to the next.
I agree.
That is true. Well, we'll see. We'll see what our audience members have to say. Do we have the results of the poll? Let's have a look. See if they feel the same way. And interesting. Okay, so
The
we have
tie.
a tie between the kitchen and the bedroom. Okay, followed by bathroom and living entertainment room. Interesting.
So
Interesting answer.
nobody uses the living room. That people don't use the living room that much anymore, I guess.
I mean, I don't know, Carla. Have you noticed a change in terms of like interior design layouts? A trend in combining these areas. I have a few friends who
Yeah.
have completely let go of the living room and kind of turned it into a like a living room slash dining area slash bleeds into the kitchen kind of theme.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Especially when the pandemic hit, everyone,
Mm-hmm.
was just lounging around the house. So it's so easy to merge every other space with one another. So people started to request for, specific um, custom built-in pieces that would accommodate those new habits. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yes, it's really
So they're
reshaping
kind of
how
like
interiors are designed. Yeah.
that's right. It's a kind of like a multi-purpose, multifunctional space as opposed
Yes.
to a designated formal entertaining area.
Yeah, like
But
Brian, working in, his daughter's room.
Yeah. No,
interesting
my
choice.
daughter went to school already, so it's face to face for her. So now I'm the one using her room for the Zoom meetings.
It's now a multifunctional room.
Yeah.
Correct. All right, again, we will be giving away modularity home goodies later, so please stay tuned for that. Again, we will be opening the floor to questions. I'm sure you have many, but make sure to include your name in the chat box so we can easily get your details afterwards. All right, so this question, I'm just gonna throw it to all of you, throw it at all of you. How do you balance keeping the design trendy and extraordinary without losing the function or essence of the product or living space? You kind of answered this a while ago, but I guess this is a more specific question. So obviously, everyone wants something trendy. Everyone wants something unique. But you can only do so much, Uh, so how do you like? Do you have certain parameters for yourself, or are you the kind of designer who will just, you know what, this is what I have envisioned, let's try it, if someone gets into an accident then we're scrapping the design? How does it work for you? Maybe we can start with Carla this time.
Okay. I guess at the very core, I would say I would ensure that usage is actually second nature. There's this
Mhm.
book by, was it Donald Norman? He was talking about the essential aspects of design. So I think it was the book, The Design of Everyday Things. And he was mentioning how when you encounter a product or a space, you shouldn't be thinking what you're supposed to do. It should come
Yes.
naturally, right? Like how you open a door should come naturally to you, or how you carry a mug or open a drawer or sit on a chair, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
very instinctive in a way. So it's not overly complicated, and it won't need like an inch thick of um, a manual or even a lengthy explanation of how it works. That to me is at the very core of every design that I would do. um when it comes to trend, though, I think trend can be subjective. With wherever you are in the country or in the world, trend to you may mean different things to other people. So perhaps we can look at ensuring that the space reflects and represents the character of the owner. So
Mm-hmm.
because design is dynamic, and so is the growth of a person. We evolve through time. So that also entails that our taste would also evolve. So what's trendy
That's
to
right.
us now may not be trendy to us in a few years, from now. So, maybe what you love, or what our clients love, what they enjoy, that's something that we wanted to encapsulate, or we always want to encapsulate into the shell that they surround themselves with. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's that. It's maybe, to shorten that, it could be the level of flexibility or the playness that you can inject into a space, for
Correct.
personalization. That's to me, that's how you balance trendy versus, more of a timeless style.
But do you ever succumb to the pressure? I mean, especially with dealing with clients, do you ever succumb to the pressure of making something trendy,
Oh
or is it a hard
yes.
no?
I think yes, especially for commercial spaces where they have this clear
Yeah.
idea of what they want their brand to look like, their space to look like, or to feel like. They would, in a
Mhm.
way, at times impose that on you and just used to implement what they had in mind. But I
That's
guess
right.
the role that we have also, aside from problem solvers, we're also in a way therapists to them. Like we tell them, okay, this may not work. There are better things that could work for you, based on, of course, you have your expertise at hand. And they tend to listen,
Mhm.
but there's
Yeah.
always that. I think it's a given in any, client designer arrangement. There's always that push and pull also of that you
Mhm.
succumbing to what they want, and then you ensuring that what they actually want is what they actually would need also,
That's right.
not just out of a whim. So
Yeah.
yeah.
For Philippe though, who is, I want to say, furniture designers are kind of responsible for all of these trends coming out. You set the
Yeah.
trends. But as a designer, have you ever felt the pressure or succumbed to the pressure of designing a particular piece with the current trends in mind?
Can you hear me? Yeah. I would say that actually it would be I would be a liar if I would answer that I'm not an actor of following trends and stuff like this. But when you design, you actually try not to go directly to the trends.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you try to avoid for your designing process, but for
Mm-hmm.
sure you are using the same the expression of your time. So it's as I said before, it's in the air. So you're in a way following the trends. I try not to do it so directly, but for sure you're using the processes that the time permits you to use the material also. So it's something that for sure, more or less, you're following. But in terms of thinking process, I would say that I also try to really understand what is the story of the company, what
Mm-hmm.
the company needs, and it can for the audience it can be strange, but I also like to be a designer that is in a way selfish, because I try to understand what the company needs, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a customer, so I know what
That's
I
right.
like, and I'm sure that I would say a normal customer, a standard customer. I have some tastes that I think
Mm-hmm.
are good, and I'm sure that if I like something, people, at least some people can like it. So when I design for the company and for me, and I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
that some people will find their, taste in what I do, if the company likes it with all
Mm-hmm.
its history, and if I like it with my taste, because as I said, I'm an actor also, and also a customer. So that's the way I try, to in a way avoid trends. But for sure, sometimes you are following some of them.
that seems to be the sweet spot, huh? Finding something that the company likes and something that you like, and I believe it's the same way for design interior designers. And speaking of being selfish and designing what you want, and limitations and all these things, I want to ask, Carla, do you have basic non-negotiables when it comes to designing a space?
Basic
What are these?
non-negotiables. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, usability.
Okay.
And also there has to be some purpose into it. Because
Mm-hmm.
while I enjoy having beautiful things, just because they're beautiful, of course, no one would say no to that, right? I love that I
Mm-hmm.
get to have pieces that have more than one function. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say a multifunctional furniture piece is something that I would really be attracted to. So my non-negotiables are similar to basically my non-negotiables in life and as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit of a nonconformist here. I'm not just a designer for interior spaces. I do products as well, and I'm into entrepreneurship and innovation. And I have a secret life of being a glass blower. So there's really a lot of things going on.
Wow.
Yeah, so to me, I love that I could be those several versions of me, but still myself. And it goes back into the furniture pieces that I love to include in my home. So furniture that can
Mm-hmm.
transform, or they have added features, or sort of like surprises here and there that inject some fun into
Mm-hmm.
it. Those to me are non-negotiables because I like the dynamic feel of a space. Like if I have people
Mm-hmm.
over, or if I have, there's a lot of us in a space, it's nice to be able to accommodate everyone without making,
That's right.
people feel uncomfortable, right? So you want,
Mm-hmm.
places that can transform, definitely.
Got that. Got that. This question I'm throwing to Brian. For you, Brian, do you prefer? I mean, obviously, the designers have learned that very delicate balance between function and form.
Yeah.
But for you as a supplier, do you prefer working with clients that focus on aesthetic or that focus on function? Like what is easier? What is more fulfilling for you? And I mean, I guess you get a good balance of both. What are the pros
Yeah.
and cons?
To be honest, I came from a different industry before, selling appliances, right? So in that particular career of mine, we would sell, trucks and trucks of appliances. I would never meet the end user. So it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
really as fulfilling as the job that it is, that I have today. Um, but, you know, it always has to be a balance between both, design and function. The nice thing about Bianca is that they really try to integrate all these materials into different products. So let's
Mm-hmm.
say like a walk-in closet, for example, will share the same door wood finish as a leg of a table. So they really
Mm-hmm.
try to marry both function and form. They're able to create all these pieces to complete different rooms, whether it's a bedroom or a dining room. Um, so, I shouldn't really choose between design and function because I think it's equally important in what we do. I think the most important thing is to choose quality products. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we preach to clients. There are many, design furniture and things like that. I'm sure Philippe has his fair share of companies copying his design. You see a lot
Mm-hmm.
of these copies in the market, whether here or in Europe or even in other countries. They copy the design, but the
Yeah,
function is different, the quality is much different. So it
for
really has
sure.
to be a balance between both design, function, and also, as Philippe would say, honesty and authenticity in terms of the products and the brands that people should buy.
That's good. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Brian. Before I turn you over to the questions of our audience members, I just like to get from each of you a piece of advice that you'd like to give our future architects or interior designers and furniture designers who are watching right now, and even clients, on keeping design both basic and beautiful at the same time. So maybe we can start with Philippe. Sorry, you were losing it. There you go.
Here I am. Yeah, my advice is, I mean, it's really based on, as Brian just said, I really like the term honesty. It means that I would say, don't try to, but you know, we've been saying everything in the question and in the answers, but don't try to imitate, don't try to follow something that you think is the thing of the moment, and try to you know, be honest with yourself and with the materials, with the industrial techniques, and with your own story. I mean, it's something that I think that can be the difference, can create the difference. The honesty, I would say. Yeah.
Honesty. Got that. Carla?
Hi, I was like listening to Philippe, and I love it because, you know, in SOFA we have this what we call the SOFA method, and it really highlights the importance of narratives. And I guess that's what he's referring to as honesty. It's really representing,
Nice.
you know, your own perspectives also. Well, to me, my advice is to always keep the user in mind. I believe, with anything that you do, you always serve a client, right? Whether it be a brand or someone who owns a home or someone who wants custom furniture, there's always someone who will end up using your products. And it could be imagined at first, you know, if you're designing out of your concepts, could be an imagined user, but there's always someone. So having this perspective of delivering human-centered design really would require you to take into account the needs and pains of the users who will be using them. And at the same time, it also it showcases who you are as a designer, because as designers we're creative problem solvers, but you know, we were able to bring to the table an integration of our years of education, our expertise, our experience and trainings and expert knowledge, even other influences in our lives into the solutions that we put on the table, right? So it creates a very unique product, or a space that actually makes people feel like it's for them, and it speaks to them, like they feel like it's made for them. So I think, to me, to be able to do that, you have to enrich and strengthen your arsenal, so you can ensure that you're well equipped when you go out into the world. When you start accepting clients, you actually have much to give. You have a lot of things that you can integrate, a lot of influences that you can put together. So your solution is, you know, something that they won't be able to find anywhere else. So that entails education, training, exposure,
mistakes,
you know, or familiarity, mistakes, travel, even, you know, they go around, learn new things, learn different cultures, because, you know, all of those influences will really be useful for you in the long run.
I like that. Strengthen your arsenal. Well, thank you very much for this very enlightening discussion. Again, Carla, Brian, and Philippe, thank you for sharing your insight and perspectives on foundational design. At this point, I'd like to open the floor for some questions, again, for Carla, Brian, and Philippe. And after the Q&A, Carla and Philippe will be choosing their favorite questions, and they will be given the Modularity Home hand soaps and fragrances, which are the best, I'm telling you. I have so many, I love them. So please make sure that your names are placed so we can easily identify you guys, okay? So while we wait for the questions that are starting to come in, not unless they're here. Are they there? Okay. Am I supposed to open a window, or will I be okay? Haven't done this in a while, so I guess I'll start with my own question. This one is for well, both Carla and Philippe. I just wanted to know, what are your design pet peeves? Maybe for Carla, it can be, what is that thing that that clients keep on making you do and
Ooh.
you just can't stand it? And for Philippe, what is maybe a furniture design furniture period that you kind of wish did not exist, or a design period that you don't particularly take inspiration from? So yeah, so maybe we can start with Carla.
Pet peeve. I think for me, if a client would go to me and ask me to copy another design of another designer, that's
Yeah.
a usual thing. It happens because and I
Mhm.
understand, because when you see something beautiful, you also want something as beautiful, right? And
That's right.
it's a bit difficult to move away from just asking someone to just copy it. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason why designers are hired, because clients need assistance in envisioning what they really want for a space, and the
Mm-hmm.
easiest thing to do for them is to go to Google or Pinterest and look for inspiration,
Pinterest. That's right.
which is I do myself, because I love Pinterest. I keep pinning like with
Mm-hmm.
recipes here and
Mm-hmm.
there, diba? You wanna have references for you to improve on the things that you do. So
That's right.
but to insist on really just copying to the T, that to me um, is a bit off, because I would rather
Yeah.
assist them and help them in discovering their own journey and how we can
Yeah.
represent who they are, rather than copying someone else, right? For them to be more
Yeah.
authentic. So yeah, so it takes a while, but when they realize that they could actually, um, discover that for themselves, they
Mm-hmm.
definitely shift their mindset. But it's a thing that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. How about for Philippe?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I will have the expected answer, but I would say that all the styles are important because they create
Mm-hmm.
other styles. Also, maybe the answer would be when it's too much of
Mm-hmm.
one style. For example, I don't know, maybe the Art Nouveau style, when it was at the end of this style, it has been maybe too much for people, and something different has been created, maybe that broke the rule,
Mm-hmm.
that changed totally. But we need all the styles. We need to build this story, to reconnect things together. We'll need all the styles. So I don't have one style that I don't like, or
Mm-hmm.
uh, I try to erase from my mind. It's
Take a
just that
little.
maybe
Mm-hmm.
the excess is something that can be risky, but that creates something totally different after. Maybe it was, I don't know if it was the question, but uh, that would be
No,
my
that
answer.
that's it. Yep, that's it.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna pick out some questions here because I can't for some reason access our Q&A box, but oh, there it is. Okay, got it. All right, so this one is coming from Ana Santa Maria. So she says, how do you establish identity by making it distinct from other furniture in its category? How do we establish identity by making it distinct from other furniture in its category?
I think that's
Uh,
for Philippe,
You,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
you
Philippe.
mean
There's
you
so
if
many. There's so many brands from Italy. When I visited like the fair, for example, there's like maybe 1,500 brands, and everyone sells the same thing: sofas, dining tables, dining chairs. So I guess the question is, how do you make yours unique? How do you establish your identity?
as I said before, I mean, my identity is based for sure on the typology of the object. So now we have, I mean, many people have a house with, I don't know, open kitchen in the living room and things like this. So what we create is in the air. Okay, we create things that people actually need in their houses. Okay, so it will be more or less the same things. What for me is important as a designer is to bring a vision. to bring a storytelling process. So that's why I was talking about honesty. I think that for me, what I think is my process and my goal is to create something that is personal. Okay, for example, it was not for Pianka, but for another company. One of the first chair that I created was based on the chair that you can find on the bistro in France, where I grew up, and that has this typical shape with the large backrest made in wood. And I wanted to reinterpret it. I mean, make it new, make it for our era, you know. So that's my way of creating something, I would say, unique. Okay, but maybe also this process is not that unique. So I don't know. It's something, you know. It's a quest. It's something that you have to work on, and yeah, at least trying not to follow what people do is something that can make your things unique. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a really good question here, but again, it's for Philippe. This is very interesting. He says, "Hi, Philippe. Interesting insights on product design. As a designer whose product is used around the world, how does one avoid falling into the trap of exoticism?" Sorry, we lost that one. Sorry, we had more questions come in, but I really like that question, so I am gonna look for it. All right. So basically, what they're asking for is, how does one? I'm looking for the question. It's really good. Sorry, please. Okay, there you go. How does one avoid falling into the trap of exoticism and cultural appropriation when trying to translate inspiration and admiration of foreign cultures into products? Thank you. I'm assuming this is in light of just recent sensitivities of many individuals when it comes to cultural appropriation. It's something very new. It's this very new conversation. So yeah, to answer your question, how do you kind of like safeguard yourself from falling into that trap?
It's a good question. I don't know if we have that kind of problem in the furniture design, since you don't, I don't know, write some words with you know, an alphabet that is without knowing things. Or I mean, in my case, it's really, you know, I say that it's something that is based on my imagination of a country that is not my country. It's a good question, but I don't know if there is that kind of risk in the furniture design. Maybe yes. I'm trying to imagine what could happen that can be, you know, badly interpreted by another culture. But I would say in that case, maybe the answer is to create a tribute, you know, something that is a declaration of love to the country and to the manga that you've been seeing during all the childhood. So it's tricky, yes, to answer the question. It's tricky, but the fact is doing it with respect and try to avoid the cliche, I would say. Yeah.
The source of the inspiration. I have seen this happen with Native American design. You know, so, many individuals, you know, took offense on, or even something as simple as like bohemian design. But yes, I guess the important thing is to kind of acknowledge where what the source of inspiration is. This next question is for Carla. Do you have this is from Jox Dilag. She says, do you have a signature design concept or element that you always integrate with your plans for your clients? Kind of like a signature IDR Carla thing.
Okay. All right. I just gave that a quick thought. We have this firm. It's called Signature Spaces, and the thing that we do there is to ensure that we are able to reflect our clients' personalities, even their
Mhm.
quirks into a space. So I think that's always something that has to be there. There has to be um, a distinct thing that makes it theirs, more theirs than ours. Because for a
Mhm.
lot of designers, you'd want to, of course, have it look like your signature style. And some people have told me that they do see if I did a space. But what we ensure that we do is that it reflects more who they are
Mhm.
in the space than it was ours. So it could be something that's very unique to their, let's say, an heirloom piece, for example, or a very
Yeah.
unique piece of, let's say, an instrument that they've played or their family has been known to playing. So something like that. There's that something that's always a bit out of place, but it sort of
Mhm.
becomes like an accent piece. Yeah.
It becomes charming.
It becomes charming, yes.
This next question is from Joan Catarata, and this is a very practical question. When do you think is the right time to update your interiors? How many years before you update? Having a classic design is timeless, but at some point, wouldn't it be boring? So I guess it's the question is, regarding the timeline or the shelf life of a design of a particular aesthetic. So maybe both Carla and Brian can weigh in on this.
Okay. Brian, you want to go ahead?
Nikki, what was the question? Sorry, I missed that. Sorry.
You failed the class.
Andito, chairperson of
There is
SOFA
a
is here,
quiz
so
later.
we have to
Yes,
be impressive. We have to
I
pay attention.
know. Out of the class. No, so Brian, the question is, when do you think is the right time to update your interiors? And having classic design is timeless, but at some point, wouldn't it be boring? And this, I think,
Yeah.
I wanna, kind of like inject some of my uh it's a question that I have as well. You design something, and they're not cheap. They don't come cheap.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so is there a need to ever update it?
I think, based on our clients, a good number of our clients are actually doing renovations. So, in most of the time, I think the houses are probably around 10 years old, or they would purchase an old house, and then of course it's not their house. They didn't build it from scratch. Then
Like a fixer upper.
they would live there for a year or two because maybe they're in a rush to find a place, or they didn't have the budget yet at that time, and then they would renovate
Mhm.
right after. Or if they buy a kitchen or a closet brand from a different supplier and it's low quality, they'll change it to ours.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it really depends from case to case, depending on if you're looking at the design. Sometimes if you buy a house that's really not your style, or someone else built it for you, it's a build and sell, as you said. Then it's time to change because as we discussed earlier, we spend so much time in the house now. We have to find
Mm-hmm.
inspiration from within and in the house. Um, so it really depends on from one client to another.
Mm-hmm. Carla.
So I think that, like what Brian said, it depends, but also it depends on the type of project. For
Mm-hmm.
commercial spaces, usually they require like around 2 years, but now sometimes even a year and a half because competition is high. If it's a residential space, it
Yeah.
really depends on what you put in. But what I always advise my clients is that to invest on the spaces that you would really want to be with you for a long time. One of those are the kitchen. Of course, investing on the large pieces of furniture like your bed, your dining table, or the elements that are fixed, like your built-ins, your flooring, your ceiling, and
Yeah,
whatnot.
it's hard to change.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
hard to
Yeah.
change.
for
So if you
sure.
want to play around, you can go with, accessorizing, repainting, more on the finishing works.
Mm-hmm.
Soft and hard finishes are easier to move around than the really fixed
Mm-hmm.
ones. So if I believe if you are able to invest on the classic pieces that will stand the test of time, you can easily you know convert your space to look
Give it a
look at
facelift.
different have a facelift, different looks every so often, right? You can have a seasonal thing going on if that's your thing,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
That's good. That's good. This one is from Bernice Fojas. And this one is for Philippe. She's asking, what was your spark or what started your thought or design process for your Fushimi collection? Was there one specific moment uh, or a dream or an experience, a conversation that kind of got the ball rolling for this collection?
Nikki, I'm also curious, like coming from the brand side, what would they tell you, Philippe? Would they just say, "Hey, Philippe, please design a table"? Is that it, or do they give like a brief?
You mean the bed or the table? The bed, right?
The Fushimi line in general.
Yeah, I mean, okay. The first brief that I received from the company was about the bed. Okay, so they wanted a bed made of wood and fabric.
That's
so
it. That's the brief.
That was the starting
It's
point.
very general.
It's very, very general.
Not at all
Creativity
helpful.
comes in.
That's why it was so interesting, because it was really, based on something very general, but it's the starting point for something that can be interesting. And I wanted to actually, as I said, I really listened to the company. And if you are in Italy, you know it, you have a huge savoir-faire, you have a huge culture in terms of design, in terms of making also. And that was something I wanted to tell into my, design and story of this product. So I wanted to use the craftsmanship, in Italy, to express in the best way their skills. That was really the really starting point. And to do this, I mean, the shape has had to have some, complex things like, the tangent lines, the very smooth joints that you can see on the details. So, and this was, that kind of inspiration that I had from the Japan. But yeah, it started like this, mixing, three things. Like I wanted to break the rules for, the aesthetic of the big beds that you can find in the bedrooms. So that was the first point. The second one was to create something that could be a very good expression for, craftsmen in Italy, the savoir-faire. And the third one, mixing with, the imagination of the aesthetic that we have from Japan. So that was that kind of mix. That was the starting point.
All right. I just want to get your thought. That's actually a question here. But what are your thoughts on the Japandi, dare I say, trend? Is it a trend, or I mean, I find it very timeless. But like, what are your thoughts on the Japandi aesthetic, which is Japanese and Scandinavian? This question is coming from Joseph Ray Yap.
Yeah, it's for sure. It's something that is interesting and that happens, in the last years. My thoughts. I don't really have. I mean, I don't think about it every day, but I can answer it by saying that those are maybe expressions from two very different countries that are known for the simplicity. It's based on really what you need, and that's all. And when it's something that is decorated, it's really decorated in a very thin way. It's never going out of the respect of the material. It's really based on something very simple. So they found maybe themselves, those two styles. They found themselves because also if they are very far away the one from the other, they are actually very similar in terms of approach, you know.
So as
for
a
sure, it's
designer,
interesting.
sorry, go ahead. So as a designer, you appreciate the fusion of these. You're not a purist in that sense. You appreciate the.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't say this this word during this talk, but I'm absolutely obsessed by fusion. Okay, that's the way you can do new things.
Yeah.
If you don't mix things, it's very difficult to do new things. That's why I'm saying I mix the most common share that you can find in the restaurant from France with a technique that is absolutely, you know, new and industrial, that is the cast iron aluminum. Or I don't know, for the fushimi, I'm mixing the Japanese culture with an Italian typology, that is the bed with the mattress, and the savoir-faire that is really, you know, Italian. So that's, maybe it's not always a winning thing, but at least I try, you know.
It's worth exploring.
Yeah, sometimes you fail, sometimes you win. In that case, for example, the fushimi is a good example, because it's people really like it. The company asked me to make the whole family around this this bed, and the story is interesting because we kind of never start from a bed to then create a table for the dining room, you know. So it's a bed that created a very big family at the end. So it's strange, but it's for sure interesting.
In this case, it was quite literally a win, because this collection did win awards.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know. I don't like to say that kind of thing, but maybe in that case, we had something very new, and we didn't expect to have something so new for the market. But we can see that after the fushimi, many things has been done in kind of the same way, or you know, aesthetic.
Got that. All right. We're down to our last few questions. This one is a very practical question, something I would ask my teacher, and because we have the honor of having Heidi or Carla here with us, Vince Alexis Casipit asks, what questions do you typically ask your clients before getting to work, and how do the answers factor into your design decisions?
Oh, okay. Typical questions. So we actually have a questionnaire, and we do several meetings to get to know the client. So it's important to have that, to establish that familiarity also. So we would ask, of course, how many would live in the home. So usually related to how many are you in the family. Do you have pets? The reason why we're asking that is that to ensure that the materials that we're going to put in would be pet friendly, or the furniture would be pet friendly. Another would be allergies. It would seem like it's not connected, but knowing that if they have allergies or not can tell you also if you can put, you know, area rugs that are, you know, are plush, or do you choose a flat weave rug, or do you choose blinds over soft furnishings, curtains. And we would, of course, it goes into the conversation if they have a budget in mind. And usually it's the last thing that they would talk about, but it's a very crucial thing because sometimes in the project, the creative side will be led by one person. The budget will be will be taken care of by another person, right? So you want to find that, you know, the balance in between, like what's the real deal here, like where you have to meet them somewhere, right? So you really have to extract all of these information, and you know the best way to do that is for them to tell you stories. It's good to start conversations, just allow them to talk about their everyday life, like what does their everyday life look like, so you can map out how you can design the perfect space for them that matches their lifestyle. So
so that it's really a custom fit. Okay, we have a question, but it's from an anonymous attendee, but I'm gonna throw this to Brian. what's the benefit of purchasing ready-made furniture, cabinetry like modularity home versus DIYs, which are, to be honest, cheaper?
Yeah, I think I explained earlier, it's about the quality control.
Mhm.
If you work with a company like Bianca, just like other companies and brands in different countries, they do have a quality control program. They really
Mhm.
create these products. They design it, and then afterwards it goes through a series of testing before it's actually shipped out into the world. Of course, they sell these products to countries like the US, to Japan. These other countries are even much more stricter compared to the quality control of the country itself. Right,
Mhm.
so you have to pass through all these standards to be able to sell the products worldwide. It's probably subjective in terms of cost because I've seen some custom made furniture that are also as expensive, if not more
Yep.
expensive.
Mhm.
So
But the
even if
quality is far.
yeah, but even if you're going for like it's not really DIY. I think I call it custom furniture. You really have to look for a very good carpenter, which nowadays is very difficult.
Yeah.
So it's safer to go for like a furniture that's already carried by a brand, produced by a brand, and you're in safer hands in that particular case. And also,
Mhm.
if you tend to change furniture now and then, or you want to sell it later on, it has more value as well because it comes from a reputable company. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. Why
So
is there like a Q&A? Nikki Hill looks so stunning. Is that a
that is
question?
not a question.
The answer is yes.
will
The
will will
question
he or
is,
she win?
is my mom online or my husband? I think my husband is watching.
Ivy J.
Yeah, your number one fan,
So,
Nikki.
yes. So, no, we will not be answering your question, but thank you. All right, bro. We're going to wrap things up by now. Maybe I can get just like just final few words, final words of wisdom for our aspiring interior designers, aspiring furniture designers, to kind of like everyone who's just kind of like getting started. These typically are seeds planted in their hearts, and we've had many amazing conversations and mod talks that have really changed, and then have really done so much for students, and obviously fellow practitioners. So maybe we can start with Philippe.
Yes, for sure. So I repeat, I don't think I can give some, general advices for I mean one type of advice for everyone. But what I could say is that yeah, no, don't be afraid to fail sometimes. Be yourself and try to really use your own experience to create. That's the thing for being unique. Be proud also of your background and how can I say the things that you have around you, and respect absolutely, because it's something that is becoming more and more important. Respect the materials, respect the quantity of material that you have to use for a design. Don't waste, don't waste material, and wasting is for everything. If you really do something, I was talking about the quality of making and quality of design. uh, uh, if you spend time creating things that you're sure it will be a good product, then you don't waste. So it's really a job that is a big responsibility. So try to know the best as you can the material you're using, the techniques, and try to make something that can last. So don't go too deeply, too quickly into the trends and things like this. So that's why I was saying at the very beginning, be yourself. Use your influences, your background, and try to create something that is the more unique as it can be. Yeah.
There you have it. Thank you once again, Philippe, for your time and for sharing
Thank you so much.
your expertise and your insight with us. Much appreciated for sure. As Brian mentioned earlier, we're looking forward to hosting you here in the Philippines. Should you find yourself in Manila,
would be great. Would be great.
Let us know. Thank you again for your time. Once again, Philippe Tabe, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you so much.
Again, we have many students watching. Carla, thank you for your time and for giving us invaluable insight. I personally learned a lot, and I'm sure you have maybe something that you'd like to leave with the many students and industry partners who have joined us today.
All right. Aside from what Philippe already mentioned, which is very beautifully said, perhaps what I could share would be something that I'm very passionate about is for you to pursue continuous development and lifelong learning. It's really a passion of mine, thus I'm in education. The fact that you guys are here attending MODTalks it's a signifier that you want to learn more. And they have a lot of episodes that are very interesting. So if you want to hear from industry experts, attend these sessions, attend classes also. We do have classes also at SOFA Design Institute that would introduce you to the field of design. That could also be a step for you. So if it's really nagging, at the back of your head, it's clawing, like can you just do it? Just do it. The year isn't done yet.
Okay.
Just take the lead. Like Philippe said, it's worth trying, it's worth failing. It gives you much stories to tell later on.
That's wonderful. Thank you once again, IDR Carla Leonor, PIID. Thank you, Carla, for your time, and looking forward to seeing you in person.
Yes.
And learning from you.
I look forward to that too. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Brian. Of course, well, before we get to Brian, and before I let IDR Carla go, we're just gonna announce the winners of our Q&A. The ones who asked the best questions for Philippe was M. Canlas. And Carla, is there anyone in particular that any question that you found particularly challenging or that you appreciated?
I appreciate the person who asked about cultural appropriation.
It's the same. All right,
same.
so he gets
the next
does that
one.
mean he gets these?
Maybe I should choose another one. One we weren't able to answer. Just a very funny question was about spaces being Instagrammable. I think it's there are a lot of very good questions here, but this person asked a very relevant one because we live in a world that everything has to be Instagrammable. So I would choose that. I tried answering the question via chat. But yeah, it's a good observation of having a space look beautiful so that it's good on photos.
That's right. Okay. If we had more time, we would have gone through all those questions, but we want to thank everyone who sent them in. Anyway, those are our two winners. Someone from Modularity Home will be getting in touch with you for your prize. All right, Brian, any final remarks? Any last kind of words of wisdom before we let you go?
I think in terms of what we do, it's just about being consistent. At, whatever you want to do, just be consistent. There are times that we will win, sometimes we will lose. Just don't be too be level-headed, and don't be too emotional about it. Just be consistent and be passionate. Stay confident. We learn so much. Every time we study, we watch seminars, we read. Be confident in what you know and what you've learned. But most importantly, be kind. I've been in this business for quite some time, and it's just a matter of building relationships, being kind, having that humility, no matter what the situation you are in. Um, so with that, I just wanted to thank everybody who joined today. Appreciate your time. As I know you guys are all busy. I know you guys are also passionate about design, and we will try to continue to do mod talks for you as long as there are more speakers who are willing to share. And I really appreciate Carla for being here today. I just found out today that you were #1 in the board exam. That's crazy, Nikki.
It's
So thank you for your time.
amazing.
I know that's so difficult. There's so many people taking that exam. But so thank you again to Carla. Thank you to Sofa Design. We look forward to our partnerships and doing more things together with you. Um, Thank you to Bianca, my friends there, Fabio, Monica. Thank you for introducing us to Philippe, not Philip in Filipino, but Philippe in French. Um, Thank you, Philippe, for sharing your knowledge. As I was telling the team, firsthand information from the designer. This is truly precious for us. Information is power. We will be able to sell more of your products. No, just
Good.
kidding. But we really appreciate it, and we love doing what we're doing, and meeting people like you will be continuously inspired. So thank you, Nikki. Thank you again. You're the best host that we have worked with, and we really appreciate your passion for design and the friendship that we have. Thank you so much. Thanks, Nikki.
Thanks, Brian. And of course, the Modularity home team and our very special guests, Philippe and Carla. And of course, to our audience for listening in on our conversation. And of course, we hope that you can join us again for our upcoming episodes. You may visit Modularity Home's Pianca display at the Peninsula Manila to see their systems up close and personal. And you may also follow and reach out to Modularity Home and Sofa via the contact details flashed on your screens should you need more information. So yeah, just feel free to reach out to them. This episode, along with other episodes, are uploaded in Modularity Home's YouTube page. So do check that out as well. And that is it for this episode of Mod Talks. This has been Nikki Hill Albert. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.